Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling you get, maybe that little niggle hearing business owners talk about how customers are just becoming, well, pickier.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. But what if that's maybe not quite right? What if it's less about customers suddenly demanding the moon and more about them simply noticing the details?
The small stuff.
Exactly. The small stuff that, those of us deep in our businesses, we kind of become blind to over time.
Right. So that's really the heart of what we're exploring today. We're kind of on a mission to uncover those often invisible, seemingly tiny details that actually have a huge impact on how customers see your business.
And crucially, whether they decide to come back.
Yeah. We'll be drawing on, well, lots of observations, really shared experiences from business owners trying to figure out shifts in customer behavior, reading the feedback.
Or maybe interpreting the silence when customers just disappear.
That deafening silence.
Think of it as trying to decode the subtle signals customers are sending, often without saying a word.
Okay, let's really dive into this picky customer idea then. Is there actually solid proof that customers have fundamentally changed? That they're just inherently more demanding now?
Well, it's easy to think that way, right? Especially when things feel tough. But often, the shift isn't really in the customer's basic nature. It might be more about increased awareness, maybe.
Like they have more information, more choices.
Precisely. And then there's this really interesting thing, sometimes called owner blindness.
Owner blindness.
Yeah, when you're living and breathing your business day in, day out, you develop this kind of selective focus, that little chip in the paint on the wall. You walk past it every day, it just fades away for you.
Ah, okay. Like living near a train line eventually, you don't even hear the trains anymore, but a visitor notices immediately it's loud.
Spot on. And that's where the silence becomes so important. See, customers don't always complain out loud.
They don't.
Not always. That coffee that was just okay, not great. Or the dusty shelf in the corner, they might not say anything to you. They just don't come back.
And that silent loss, that can be way more damaging, can it? Because you're losing business, but you don't even know why.
Exactly. So in a way, our customers are like these unpaid quality control inspectors, constantly checking things against standards we might not even realize they have.
And if we don't meet those unspoken expectations, they just vote with their feet, walk away.
Precisely. And what often gets missed is these little failures in their eyes. They aren't usually about the main thing you sell, the food, the core service. It's often these seemingly minor details that just pile up.
They create an overall feeling.
Yeah, an overall negative impression.
Okay, so let's get specific then. What are some of these key areas, these little red flags that we, stuck in our owner blindness, tend to gloss over?
Cleanliness. It's just fundamental. It hits you immediately on subconsciously. It links directly to trust, to safety.
Makes sense.
Think about like a sticky menu. The second a customer touches that, before they've even really looked at what you offer, they've had a negative physical thing happen.
Yeah.
Research actually shows these first tactile feelings heavily shape the whole perception.
Yeah, I can see that. It's that tiny feeling of, ew, sets you on edge. And wobbly tables. Nothing makes you feel like the whole experience is unstable, quite like a wobbly table.
Right. And those mystery sticky patches you sometimes find on tabletops. It's like a little germ invitation sitting right there.
Definitely.
And don't forget the chairs, sticky armrests, maybe one that squeaks every time you move or feels like it might give way.
Yeah, not just annoying.
No. It adds to this feeling that the place isn't really looked after. It subtly says, we don't care that much.
Okay, cleanliness is a big one, a huge nonverbal signal. What's another area where businesses might be losing points without realizing?
Skimping. Skimping on ingredients. It sends a really clear message about value and, honestly, about respect for the customer paying good money.
How so?
Well, imagine ordering a Caesar salad. You're looking forward to it, and it arrives. And it's basically just lettuce. Like maybe 3 croutons and a hint of Parmesan.
Oh, the disappointment is real.
Or nachos. Advertised as fully loaded, right. But they come out with barely a sprinkle of cheese. You can count the jalapenos. It feels mean.
It's that feeling of being shortchanged, isn't it? Like the business is trying to save a few pennies at your expense. And that feeling, that really lingers.
It does. Customer psychology studies show that feeling unfairly treated creates this really strong negative memory that lasts. They might not complain then and there.
But they remember.
They remember.
Yeah.
And that trust just erodes. Slowly, maybe, but surely.
It's like a silent trust problem building up.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about things people might be more sensitive to now, especially, say, post-COVID?
Oh, absolutely. Cross-contamination and just general hygiene practices are way more on people's radar now. definitely, for sure. Something that might have seemed minor before, like a server handling cash, then touching, say, bread or unwrapped food without washing hands or changing gloves.
Yeah.
That can trigger a really strong nope reaction now.
There's just a heightened awareness, isn't there? Almost like we're conditioned now to spot those things. It feels like a basic safety fail.
Exactly. People are just more vigilant. And even if the actual risk is tiny, the perception of a hygiene slip-up can be enough. It's like a little horror movie playing in their head.
And they won't come back.
Probably not.
Okay, so we're seeing what customers are reacting negatively to. How do we, as business owners, get better at actually seeing these things ourselves? How do we tune in?
Right. This is where this deceptively simple but really powerful question comes in. You have to ask yourself, if I were the customer walking in here for the very first time, would I genuinely be happy with this?
Ah, okay. So forcing a perspective shift.
Totally. It forces you to step outside your own shoes, your own familiar viewpoint.
It's like doing a mental swap. You stop being the owner who knows every quirk, every reason why something is the way it is.
And you become the paying guest. Fresh eyes, fresh expectations.
You have to burst that owner bubble.
Exactly. You have to actively fight becoming used to things a new customer would spot instantly. Because as owners, we tend to make excuses, don't we?
Oh, definitely. Oh, that scuff mark. It's been there ages. Nobody minds.
Right. But the new person sees neglect. It's like familiarity bias. It makes us blind.
Yeah, we dismiss it as just a small thing. But for the customer, it's part of the story of their whole visit. So this magic question helps break that bias. But why is this super detailed focus so vital? Isn't just having good food or good service enough anymore?
Well, in today's market, honestly, good is often just the entry fee. It's the baseline.
The minimum requirement.
Yeah, just to be in the running, to really build loyalty, to stand out, you've got to offer a completely positive experience. And that covers everything. The main product, sure, but also the environment, the service interaction, how things look.
How things look. That brings us to the Instagram factor, doesn't it? Every customer interaction is potentially a photo op now.
It really is. You could have this amazing dish, perfectly cooked, presented beautifully on the plate, but if the table underneath is visibly grubby, or there's a chipped glass in the background of their photo, bam, that perfect dish is undermined.
And that flaw gets shared, potentially widely.
Exactly. So attention to detail isn't just about stopping negative stuff. It's also about creating moments people want to share positively.
Okay, so how does this level of care, this detail focus, actually build like an emotional connection with customers?
Well, when people notice you've put effort into the small things, it sends a signal. It says you care, you value them. It shows thoughtfulness.
Right, it communicates that you're not just trying to process them and take their money.
Exactly. It feels different from a place that's just purely transactional. When the details are right, it kind of whispers, we actually want you to have a great time here.
And that feeling of being looked after, that's powerful.
Hugely powerful. It drives repeat visits, and even better, it turns customers into advocates. You know, the ones who leave glowing reviews and tell their friends. That's gold.
Okay, so we need to become detail detectives. What are some of those really sneaky, easily missed things that owners often only notice when it's too late?
Let's talk about the table essentials. Condiment containers. Ever notice ketchup bottles with that crusty, dried gunk around the cap?
Oh, yes.
Or salt shakers where the salt's gone hard, like a little salt museum inside? Or pepper grinders that just don't grind.
The Salt Museum, that's brilliant. Yeah, those little things, they seem tiny, but they just scream neglect, don't they? Adds up to a feeling of sloppiness.
Totally. Then there's the dreaded sticky booth syndrome.
Oh, no. Tell me about sticky booth syndrome.
It's that moment you slide into a booth and your clothes kind of adhere unexpectedly, unpleasantly.
Oh, that is the worst. It's not just awkward. It makes you feel instantly unclean. And that little ripping sound when you try to shift position, cringeworthy.
And we absolutely have to talk about the restrooms. Yeah. Critical area, empty soap dispenser. The last lonely square of toilet paper hanging on for dear life. Yeah. Broken paper towel machine. Dirty mirrors, hand dryers that just puff out cool air weekly.
The restroom is such a make or break point, isn't it? It's often the only place a customer is alone, and they really look around. A bad restroom can just ruin the whole impression of hygiene and care for the entire place.
It leaves a huge negative mark. A clean, well-stocked restroom signals attention to detail everywhere, even the bits most people don't see.
True.
And if you happen to have an open kitchen concept,
Then the scrutiny level goes way up.
way up, suddenly everything's on show. Cleanliness of the counters, how organized things are they following hygiene rules consistently? Any slip-up is visible.
So how do we move from just knowing these details matter to actually managing them day to day? What kind of routines should owners use?
System checks are key. Regular, consistent checks. I often suggest something like Tactile Tuesday. But really, it needs to be daily.
Tactile Tuesday.
Literally, run your hands over surfaces customers touch. Feel the tables, chair arms, menus, door handles. Are they actually clean, smooth, not sticky?
The touch test. That's great. It bypasses just scanning visually. What else?
Maybe a fresh perspective Friday. Set aside time each week. Walk through your business pretending you've never been there before.
Yeah.
What jumps out? What's the very first feeling? Be brutally honest.
Really try to see it with new eyes, detached from knowing it so well.
Exactly. Then try the would I share this photo check. Whip out your phone, take pictures from where customers sit or stand. Look at the photo. Would you be happy posting that online?
Oh, the camera lens reveals all. Great idea. It forces that outside perspective.
It really does. And one more. The discerning guest test. Ask yourself, would I be 100% proud and comfortable bringing my most picky, critical friend or relative here right now?
Ooh, that's a tough standard.
If there's any hesitation, any at all, you know where you need to focus.
The picky relative test. Okay, so these owner checks are vital, but how do we get our teams, our staff, thinking this way too? It can't just be the owner.
No, it starts with changing the mindset. You need to frame their roles differently. They aren't just doing tasks. They're experience architects or experience creators.
I like that, experience architects.
Yeah. Every little thing they do helps build that overall customer feeling.
So it's about giving them ownership, making them see how their part fits into the big picture of keeping customers happy.
Exactly. And you can introduce something simple but really effective, like a one small improvement rule.
How does that work?
Encourage every team member, maybe at the start or end of their shift, to find just one small thing they can improve. Could be polishing the salt shakers, tidying a shelf, wiping down a door handle, anything.
Makes it feel doable, right? Not overwhelming. Gives everyone a concrete way to contribute.
And, super important, notice and celebrate these small wins. Thank people who spump things. Build a culture where paying attention to detail is genuinely valued.
Right. So for everyone listening, maybe they're feeling that frustration, thinking their customers have become pickier. What's one thing they can do, like right now, immediately after hearing this?
Okay, simple action. Block out the next 30 minutes. Seriously, go and experience your own business like a customer. Walk through the front door, sit down where they sit, read your menu, use the restroom, touch the surfaces.
And be brutally honest.
Brutally honest. What do you notice? Good and bad. Make a list.
A physical list.
Yes. Then prioritize it. What can you fix right away? The great thing is, many of these fixes don't need a huge budget. They need time, effort, and attention.
A bit of elbow grease can go a long way.
It really can. And the payoff, as we've said, is huge. More loyal customers, better word of mouth.
So if we boil it all down, the main takeaway is stop blaming the customers for being picky.
Right. Turn that focus inward. Look really closely at the details of the experience you are actually providing. Those little things you've stopped noticing, they might be the exact reason people aren't coming back.
Yeah, every missed detail is a potential lost customer.
But flip that around. Every detail you get right is a chance to create a fan, someone who not only returns, but tells everyone else how great it was.
That's a really powerful way to look at it. So for you, the learner listening today, if you were your own customer, honestly, would you come back?
Would you be excited to come back?
Make sure that answer is a definite yes. And think about the single detail you're going to tackle first after hearing this. Thanks for diving deep with us.